Well, hello guys, how's it going? You know, this is going to be one of those bittersweet little videos. I'm going to get the old 48 style line done, and it's going to go home, and I'm going to be glad that we got it done. I'm going to be glad and grateful for all the experience and the interest in the videos I was able to share with you. Almost had you along for the entire project. Not quite. I had the engine out already when we started this whole thing. But, you know, in a way it's still sad to see it go. Love the 48 Chevy. But anyway, I've got all the parts laid out that we need to find a home for. All the little things, I should say. We've got to replace knobs and escutcheons on all the handles and cranks, and refinish the rear view mirror, install the dome light. We have door panels, driver's door latch to repair, garnish moldings, sun visors to recover and install. You know what, we have a lot to do. So why don't I just zip it, tick a lock, and we get to work. So these are pretty typical of the crank handles on this car. The plastic knobs have just disintegrated, being so old. The plastic wasn't great. Plastic is never great, I suppose. Being a lot of hot days in the car and a lot of freezing days in the car, and it just wears out. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the old pin here. It's a 5/16. So those are the pins we're removing. Let's go to the buffer. These just need cleaning up. You could probably almost do it by hand, but we might as well make a good job of it. So I'm just going to use white rouge and a loose section wheel, and that ought to shine them up really nice. Doing this job, you always walk away feeling like you've been walking through a house full of cobwebs. Now, for whatever reason, the knob handles that I ordered come with pins that don't fit the recessed portion on the original handles. I just don't know. So what I had to do on the one I've already installed in the back seat is I just turned down the head of the pin. Actually, I believe I just rotated it against my belt sander or my grinding wheel and did it that way. From now on, I'll probably turn it on my little mini lathe here just to do a little more accurate job of it, but there's no reason even just a file wouldn't work. I ended up just using the bench grinder. It's just quicker and easier, you know. Anyway, got the pin fitting so it spins. It's recessed down in the handle there and it spins. So now I'm just going to use a hammer handle and just push the pin in. A little bit more. Well, you stubborn little thing. I don't want to use a vise, and I don't have an arbor press here. There she goes. Okay. We can just put our decorative little center in there. And there you go. Now I should point out to those of you who know your stuff, this isn't quite original coloring on these knobs. Here's an original one, and that may have darkened up a little bit, but I don't know how much. But I bought these from Chevs of the 40s specifically because they said they were not, they sold them as an economy style, that they were not quite original, and they were much, much cheaper. Between the knobs and the escutcheons, we sunk a whole lot of money into this project. This escutcheon, I believe, is just dark from age, and so it was probably more of this cream color originally, and so I actually liked these economy knobs because they matched the escutcheon just a little bit more. So for those of you who might catch on to that, this is the original, that is not, and you can buy original. You can get them the complete darker brown. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out for you. Now, one of the first jobs I wanted to get into here is fixing the reason the driver's door does not stay open on its own. And that's not going to be too difficult. I wanted to get into it before I put the door panel on, but I don't think it's going to matter the way it looks. So what we've got going on here, this plate sits recessed in the door there on the front edge, and then we've got a little little arm here with little cams or over center little bumps, let's get real technical, and those just slide through these spring-loaded latches here, and it just forces the raised portion on the arm just forces its way through the latches, and then it hangs up on them. As you can see, there are round worn through spots on it, so it doesn't grab anything anymore. So my welder is still at the shop at work, working on welding up 86 GMC body parts there. So I'm going to have to run that to work and re-weld that. But that should fix that problem, so there shouldn't be any reason that I cannot move on to the door panel. Now that we've got all the big stuff done going in and out the doors, I feel safe putting the panels back on. So I guess let's do that. Well, you caught me. I worked ahead of you just a little bit. You know, a guy doesn't like to make a complete fool of himself all the time. So I thought I'd try the passenger side. Turned out just fine. I mean, at least I think it's looking good. So we will go on over to the driver's side and give that a shot. Alright, I'm re-gluing some insulation back on, letting that dry for a second, but I thought I'd just show you up close what's going on exactly. Got two hooks here that go into the back of the door panel. There's a couple slots, corresponding slots there, and I just bend them out at an angle, about a 45 or so, and that just helps grab them, and then once they're hooked, I bang them with my fist and they'll bend back up. And then we got a metal channel down here that, of course, there's a corresponding top piece on the bottom of the door panel that slides down in there. Then we've got 3 springs for the back of our handles, and that puts pressure on the escutcheons from the back side. So we got to be sure to get those in. Other than that, if you remember going back to the door panel video when we made it, we've got nails all the way around, well, on both sides anyway, and we just start at the bottom, work our way up, make sure they're all getting started, and then we will hammer them home. So let's get going. Alright, like I was saying, got the slots for the 2 hooks, and then all along the bottom is that long hook on the not a tack strip, but a hook strip or whatever you want to call it. So what we got to do is get in here and bend on this thing. Well, okay. Get those big old hooks started, which I think they are. Make sure our bottom is started, which it is. Now you stop that. It looks like the whole panel's a little too far to the left. Go like that. So now I'm going to sneak the two springs that I had left. The one for the vent window tends to stick in there, but the other two come out pretty easily. So we're going to slide those in there. And find our holes for our actuators. There we go. Now we'll need to enlarge those with a X-Acto knife in a bit. Okay. Let's get that to hold and I'll bring you in a little closer. So I'll show you what I'm seeing. I've got my springs on my actuators down there. If you can see that. Where's the third one? Oh, there it is. Way down there. Okay, and then this one. So that's what that looks like. And then here are my nails going into the slots. You of course want to make sure all the old broken nails have been pulled out. That's on both sides. So we'll start bumping those in. Well, after about a 5 or 6 hour delay here, a quick trip to town to the lumber yard and so forth, I'm back. I don't know why you needed to know that, but I'm going to throw garnish molding on here now. You know, these are a little bit worn out from the arm hanging out the window so many times. But they're just going to have to work on this project. I really needed the window rolled down here. That's something I always wanted to get into, was learning how to wood grain metal pieces, dashes and these moldings and so forth. And I'm pretty sure there's still starter kits and so forth available out there if that's something you need to do or would be interested in. I've never done it. It actually is a really good option if you're not interested in doing that or paying to have that done. You can take these things to one of these guys that wrap cars in vinyl, you know, with all the graphics and so forth, and have it re-wrapped in a wood grain, and it looks beautiful. It really does. This is a solemn occasion, and I wish to dedicate this to all of you who have been here with me since the very beginning. All be. Okay, we can take a closer look, though I don't know if there's that much to see. I just ran a few spot welds in the worn out sections there, filed them down even and straight, and shot penetrating oil in the holes and down each latch, and then made sure with a big pliers that the springs were indeed working. You can see how that works. They seem awfully loud for some reason, but anyway, that is what it is. Now I need to put in one of these little hanger hooks again. So I just take a T-pin and I find the hole behind it. Then you can go to an awl if you want to get even more brave about it. It's right there. Well, I know you're here. No. You're right there. Couldn't be simpler. Alright, we're going to give it a shot installing our dome light here. Just going to feel the outline beneath the headliner. You can even draw a line with your finger on it and give you a good idea. Let's see if this snippage gives me enough slippage. My bulb seems to be burnt out. No surprise there. So I'm going to have to postpone this just a bit. So I think there's a gap up in the framework here to the front. Yeah. Now what's that bulky thing though? Alright, I'm going to use my pick to find the holes. The one's right. Where are you? I know you're here. There we go. Is it gonna work? Ooh. The higher trim packages on these cars have a really cool, kind of a chevronish shield dome light. You think to the previous, the badges or the emblems on the previous style of pickups before the advanced design, they had a shield, kind of that shape. Where's my switch? There we go. So in the car we have a rough edge where the headliner gets tacked around the door opening. You see all the staples or the tacks as would have originally been used, and then you have the regular windlace around the door opening. How did they hide those fasteners? They used what they call wire-on windlace, and this is the original stuff. It would have been folded open originally at the factory. You can see the zigzag pattern. That is the rusty old wire, and you would apply your tacks, fold it over, and then it looks like the finished windlace material. This stuff is very difficult to find and very pricey. There are three options I came across. Chevs of the 40s, chevsofthe40s.com, offers wire-on windlace and the regular windlace in a kit for your Chevy from the 40s for $200. Well, for the 48 it was $200. It depends on the model year, but it's all going to be right around in there. I called them asking if they would separate out just the wire-on windlace, because I have had the regular stuff installed for months and months, and they denied my request. The only other option I found easily obtainable was from SMS Auto Fabrics, and they have an outside source make it up for them. It took about a week and a half to get it to my door, and it's good looking stuff. Now it costs $28 a yard. I estimated I would need a little bit over 3 yards, so I had to go to 4, and so pretty big size investment, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. Now, if you're not willing to plunge headfirst into that financially, another option that I actually had already installed is called Hitem GIMP. Go to sailrite.com, or you can probably find it other places, I'm sure. And this is what Hitem GIMP is. It's just a strip or a tape of material doubled over twice on itself. So you have an opening in the center, you peel it open, and you can apply your staple or your tacks in between, and then it self-closes. Used perhaps more in sofa, furniture manufacturing. They must use it in their marine applications quite a bit. But I bought this, didn't really want to use a light colored gray vinyl in the car, but I bought that more to see how it was made, and you know, it would have been a backup option. But I ended up making my own Hitem GIMP out of our upholstery that we used on the door panels and the seat back. So that's what that looks like. Still didn't really like it. It turned out okay. I already had it installed. Maybe you can see the staples when I peel that open. But it ends up being about twice as wide as the wire-on windlace does. And yeah, it would have been okay, but that's an option for you if you want to do that. I bought also from Sailrite this seam stick, 1/4-inch seam stick basting tape, and that really aided in taping along the edge, folding it over, sewing it, doing the same. That really held that in place. So that is something to be considered. But we don't need to for this project. Let's go install our wire-on windlace. Now you can see I have this Hitem GIMP in here, and you know, it's a valid option. It's not as clean looking as a guy would like, and it's a little chunky, perhaps a little wide, but it does the job. I mean, it covers the rough edges up. So that's certainly an option, but I'm going to remove it, obviously. I'm going to start down here and tuck the end underneath my panel here. So I'm going to go all the way tight. Get this in here. Just enough to hold it. There we go. Now I personally like the holding power of small ring shank nails a little bit better for this. We're going through so many layers, and the internal structure of this windlace, this wire-on, is a little bit thicker material too, and so a staple, just, you can probably get it if you use the longest staples you can find. It might work for you, but I know these little ring shank nails are going to hold exceptionally well. Takes a little more time and effort, but what is that after all? Probably be better if I got in the back seat and did this, actually. Okay, so the hard part's going around the curve, obviously, and you just gotta bend it over, but still be able to get in there with a nail. This would be very difficult with the stapler. If you have a long nose staple gun, professional, well, why am I not hitting that? I've got a staple holding right there, the headliner. We'll just go a little higher, I guess. But yeah, if you have a long nose stapler, I'm gonna get some more in here. Alright, I'm going to be coming around the curve here, and I want to trim this off. So I'm going to take about an inch past where I need, I believe. I'm going to peel this open and remove the core for just a bit of it. Something like that. Come on now. Where's my real scissors? There we are. Snipping off about half an inch there. I'll get that all a little cleaner in a bit, but I want I want to attach this corner here. Now you remember when we did the headliner, probably the Windlace, we went over, this is all steel construction in here, and there's just like maybe 4 little 1/2-inch slots that have a tack strip behind it. And so I marked all those underneath with Sharpie. I should probably remark them on my wire on here, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, there's one there, one there, one there, one there. Well, now. Well, come on. I had to stop and find it with a T-pin again, but I think I got it. Man, nails were just flying everywhere. I'm going to be finding them all over the place. Alright, I got everything fastened nice and tight. She ain't going nowhere. I've got it. The extra material that I cut the core out of tucked up underneath our garnish molding, and the anything loose just tucked up between the 2 folds here. Now you want to just take a clean hammer. I like to use the flat of my tack hammer. We're just gonna bend her over all the way. You can also see here the ragged end of the headliner peeking through. If it was cut a little long, you know, you just want to tuck that stuff up in there, get her in there. You don't want to see it. I could have trimmed it off just a little bit shorter, apparently, but a guy just kind of hates to do that, you know. Alright, well, we have one chore left as far as I'm concerned on this car, and that is to install our sun visors. So I'm going to find the hole here. Cut in with our X-Acto knife. Take a pick. See, that notch is there. There we go. Well, guys, the sun visors are in. Everything's in. There's nothing left for me to do on this car. Once again, the checklist is checked off, you know. Now, as far as the sun visors, a friend in Deutschland, I'm not going to mention names, but you know who you are. I believe he led me in the right direction, and I've ordered a different foot for my, or attachment for my sewing machine. And so I think what I'll do is I'm going to pull the sun visors off my 48 sedan out in the boneyard, and I'm going to play around with recovering those using this attachment. And I'll bring you along for the ride if I'm successful, you know. And if he comes and picks the car up before I've had a chance to get them done, then I'll ship them to him and he can ship these back or whatever. It doesn't matter. But if I get them done beforehand, that's great. Other than that, everything is complete. I'm going to go through the fluids again, recheck the transmission, the rear end, of course oil, antifreeze, just kind of double check. I'm not leaving anything off the list, but this isn't going to be the last video. I have some ideas of what we need to do to give this thing a proper send-off, so be looking for that. But otherwise, once again, you know, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Oh. Oh. Looks like it's lit in its share of stogies.